We are going to be talking about something a little different, but still very much related to attachment style on this podcast, the heart of the matter. I think it is a very important topic that we really don't talk about much in our relationships, or there aren't many of us bringing in the importance of what we go through at work and how we balance that in our relationships. A lot of times we're so caught up with wanting what we want from our partner to feel better that we often forget that we're adding pressure to them and the pressure that they're probably going through at work. And that can cause an overwhelm where that person says, you know what? My work is my livelihood. Without this, I don't have a place to stay. I can't provide for my kids. I can't find food for myself. So if I'm this stressed out, and then my partner, who's supposed to be my safe and comfort space, if that person's adding on to my burdens, then guess who I'm going to have to let go of, right? So I think it's so important that we understand that our partner is not just a person who's supposed to be there to emotionally take care of us. It's someone who's got a life other than just a relationship. They have careers, they have goals, they have a boss, jumping down their throats when they don't hand in an assignment or a project on time. Even if you're at school, if you're someone who you haven't gotten a job as yet, but you're in college, you're in school, you're studying, you're doing something else. We're all looking for that partner who is going to be a place of comfort and peace, and not someone who adds on to the burdens that we're already collecting in life. And so a lot of times when people reach out and they say, oh, my partner just suddenly up and left, it's not a sudden up and leave. It's perhaps being overwhelmed with so many things happening in their lives, and they just feel like, my partner is a space where I just want to come and relax. I just want to come and be with that person and watch TV quietly or go for a walk or have some laugh, but not come and bump into someone who makes me feel less than myself here as well. I don't want to bump into my partner and instead of talking about how things have been and how great they were, to hear something like, oh, you don't call me enough. I didn't hear from you all weekend. What's going on? Why aren't you showing up? Why is it you used to be so nice with me and you've changed? We want to know and always remember that the person that we're choosing to be with is someone who's got other stresses. Now, if you're dating someone who's got an avoidant attachment style, or you're married to them, or whatever the status of your relationship is, you want to remember that these are people who don't share. You can tell them, you can beg them, you can try to coax them into sharing. They're just not going to do it unless they feel absolutely safe. A lot of times as well, what they want to do is sort through their problems on their own before coming to you. And the reason for that is that they have learned over the years that by sharing the things that bothers them, it can become too burdensome for their partner, and the partner may just leave. Now, it may not be the truth in your case. However, if they're not telling you, they have their reasons. It doesn't mean that they don't love you. Whatever their reasons are, it's theirs. And we have to respect that they're not ready to talk about it. So just let them be. Just asking them to share might add pressure to them, because what happens is they get into their heads and they're thinking, you know what? This person expects me to share. I know that's what I'm supposed to do in a healthy relationship, but I've got all my fears, my insecurities, my concerns here. How do I balance this? I'm choosing to not speak about it because it makes me uncomfortable. What if I don't and they leave me? Right? And so there's just so much that goes on in a person's mind, and we have to stop thinking that all that person is concerned about or should be concerned about is the relationship that they have with us. If you want to be with that person, we have to learn how not to add unnecessary burden onto their lives. We have to be able to pause. Like I think I mentioned this in the last podcast. We have to be able to learn how to pause, process our thoughts, and think about what it is we really need to say. What do we really need to discuss? And what we can probably sort through, process on our own. Process on our own, and perhaps change our own perspective, soothe ourselves, and not always depend on our partner to assure us or reassure us that they're there to validate our feelings all the time. It can be a burden. One way of looking at it is to think of kids. If you have children, or imagine that there's a child that's coming to you and constantly asking you for attention, and you've got other things to do. It can become irritating. It can become annoying. Do you want to be seen that way in your relationship, or would you just prefer if your relationship is a happy space? And I know a lot of times people say for a healthy relationship, we need to communicate, of course. But if you're listening to this podcast, you haven't yet found yourself in a space where you can choose a healthy relationship. You're still trying to understand a person you're choosing, but also a person you believe cannot meet your needs. And you're choosing them because you've not made a decision to walk away as yet. So we're not in a space of healthy relationships right now. And we cannot force a person to heal into a space where we can now have them in a healthy relationship. What we're doing is bumping into persons who are still working through their healings. Some have not yet woken up to an awareness. They've not yet started their evolution to where we might feel comfortable. And all we've got a choice in doing, and I know you guys don't like hearing this. I know it. I've been there before. I know it's not easy, but they are who they are, and the only choice that we've got, and it's powerful in knowing that you have a choice, is to stay with them or walk away. All right. So recently I did an article. It's on the website if you want to go read it. It's about the work-life balance in relationships with avoidant or anxiously attached partners. So I'm pretty much, talking about that particular article. So if you want to go read it, it's on the website, annalisabahadur.com. It starts by saying, achieving work-life balance can feel like a nightmare, and it can feel like being in purgatory. I'm sorry, it is evening here. I have not eaten all day, and I promise you I'll be getting to that soon. It's purgatory when you have a partner who is not supportive. If you've got big tasks to manage, work commitments, and navigating your romantic relationships, that can be challenging under any circumstance. All right. It is a tough enough task when we're trying to navigate our emotions in the relationship to keep the relationship happy and peaceful. That alone is a big issue. Now, if we've got projects and stuff going on at work, to balance that with a partner who feels like they need our attention, that is not going to be an easy space to be in. So we want to take these things into consideration. It's important that we understand the attachment style. Now, on the article, if you go there, you're going to find it's really easily done. And there are graphics there that gives a snapshot of what the attachment styles are. You guys, if you've been listening to this podcast for a while, you already know it. But I want to talk about a little bit, just remind us about the avoidant attached person, the way they show up. And so when I give you the strategies a little later on how you can manage yourself in your relationship, it'll be a lot easier for you to understand, right? So the avoidant attached person tend to distance themselves emotionally and physically from their partner. They often prioritize their independence and their self-sufficiency over intimacy. And that's because they've learned that their job, their projects, the outcome of work is something that they can control. And when it comes to human emotions, it's kind of tricky. Their need for space can sometimes be mistaken for disinterest. And that can leave their partners feeling neglected and frustrated. If you're someone with an anxious attachment style, you know exactly what I'm talking about. For the anxiously attached person, They are often sensitive and very attuned to the relationship dynamics. That does not mean that they are attuned to their partner's needs. And what attunement means is that they can sense a shift in their partner's energy. They can sense that their partner is no longer present with them. And then they tend to get really scared and worried that the partner is pulling away, when it may just mean that the partner's attention is completely absorbed by a work project. All right. Now, on a personal note, there's something that I do. I don't reach out to my partner during his workday unless it is super important. And so far, I've found nothing to be that important that it could not wait until he was done with work. Now, do I wait until like 4:00 to just send him a message? Absolutely not, because a person's workday does not end at 4 or 5. At the end of when the office closes, right, what that person has to do is the other stuff that they couldn't get done between that 9 to 5, 8 to 4, whatever the work shift is. So you want to allow the person to breathe after, and then allow them a chance to just relax and go home, get something to eat, watch some TV. And who knows, by then it's probably not a good time to talk to them about whatever it is that was bothering you. But if it's to make plans about something, yeah, after they've done their work, maybe give it 2 hours and then send that message. It isn't a life or death situation. As someone who comes from a more anxious attachment style, that was something that I had to learn to do. Stop and ask myself, how urgent is this thing? Does my life depend on it? Does somebody else's life depend on it? If the answer is no, then wait. Nothing is going to change. It is not so urgent that you need to reach out. And one thing that I had to learn about my anxious attached brain was that it was searching for a reason, an excuse to connect, because it didn't feel good when we were not connected. I actually just watched the movie Venom, and Venom is this alien substance that gets connected to a human being. They couldn't function without the other. And sometimes that's how we are with our attachment style. We feel like we can't function without it. Now, I'm not going to give any spoilers to the recent Venom movie. But what happens is that when they are detached from each other, even if it's for a moment, there is sadness. There is getting used to that detachment. But in time, you learn how to function on your own. All right. So we can learn to unlearn our past behaviors. We can learn how to heal our attachment styles, but we've got to stop and pause and think, process our emotions before making a decision. Look, a lot of times the mistake people make the mistake they make that pushes that partner away is that impulsive act, is that reaching out without processing. And after the mess, that's when they calm down and say, you know what, I shouldn't have done this. I should have done it this way instead of that way. We want to be able to do the afterthought before. We want to make it the part of the processing before the action. And when it comes to a person's work, we've got to be really, really careful, because at the end of the day, they're going to choose the thing that provides safety for their livelihood. Remember, I keep saying this over and over, we're an organism, we're a human species. Our personal survival is what means everything to us. Okay? Now, the challenge when it comes to these two attachment styles is that in the relationship where one partner exhibits a more avoidant attachment style, the other may struggle to find their footing during a perceived emotional distance. The anxious attached partner may try to connect more deeply, which can lead to tensions, especially if the avoidant attached partner is emotionally or physically bogged down with work commitments. Okay. Now, what are the key challenges? I've got 3 of them. And again, they're all on the article. If you want to go save that and reread it every now and again, or you want to save the podcast, you could do that as well. One of the key challenges would be emotional drain. The demands of navigating these attachment styles can lead to emotional exhaustion, making it difficult to focus on work and personal interests. All right. If you're thinking about your partner being upset with you, then how can you possibly focus on work? All right. And after, we're only human. We could only handle so much. We can start to glitch like a computer. And what happens when the computer is overloaded? It just burns out. It just shuts down. It can't do anything else, right? So we want to take that into consideration. Resentment, over-caring, and resentment. Somebody with an anxious attachment, they may overgive in an attempt to stabilize the relationship. And this can lead to burnout and eventual resentment if their needs are not met. If they are constantly giving and giving and giving and not receiving anything in return, they can very well get upset, and understandably so. Distraction. An avoidant partner's needs for space may push the anxiously attached partner to prioritize their partner's emotional needs over their own. And this can hold them back in their personal and professional growth. So you want to make sure, anxious attached friends out there, that you are taking care of yourself. Now, here are some strategies for maintaining healthy boundaries. As your partner is getting about their life, the other parts of their life, what you can do is you can ask your partner how they would like to be supported emotionally through their work days and projects. That would be incredibly helpful. You want to set clear boundaries regarding personal time, work commitments, and emotional needs. Designate specific times for work, self-care, and time together as a couple. Having these boundaries in place can prevent feelings of neglect or overwhelm. If you could set this clear with your partner, then they know that you're just busy at work and they're not thinking, oh, that person's just busy out there and not connecting, not responding to me. And another one I hear a lot of is, how can that person be on social media? I just saw them on social media. I just saw them on WhatsApp, but they didn't respond to my message. What happens with an avoidant attached or a secure attached person is that they may have some time to unwind. Social media might be the place to do it. Family generally are the ones who WhatsApp you, right? Not necessarily does a person go on WhatsApp to respond to a message, but they might just be looking at stories. It's light, it's entertaining. And to respond to a text message to someone, especially for a secure or an avoidant attached person, they want to take their time and respond carefully. Okay? So it might just not be the time. They're not impulsive people. They take their time with responding. So it's not a you thing. It's they're taking their time to send the best possible response. You want to prioritize your own interests and needs. You want to engage in activities outside of the relationship that nourish your spirit and help you to recharge. Do things that energizes you. Don't go scrolling to see or go online to see when was the last time they were there. If you're doing that, then you're not filling up your days with enough important things to you. You should be so busy, so happy with yourself that you forget to check and see what they're doing and what they're not doing. And I promise you, when you do this, you're scaring yourself with some silly thoughts. A lot of it is not true. They're coming from a programmed belief. And you might just be self-sabotaging. So control where your mind goes. Only you can do that. You get to choose what you're going to think and how you're going to feel. All right, you want to start practicing how to recognize and articulate your feelings without projecting them onto your partner. And this will help you to prevent misunderstandings. And those, especially with an avoidant attached partner, it is important to recognize when they need space and when they might desire support. And if you want to know how to support them, a lot of times it just means saying, I'm here. Let me know if there's anything you could do. If you'd like, I could step out and go for a walk and come back later. All right. A lot of times they just want space. And I know it is not easy to achieve the work-life balance in relationships with those who's got an avoidant or an anxious attachment, but it is very, very possible when we become more aware. Until next time, I'm Annalisa.